front carry. You will start out putting your waistband on. It should be resting on top of your hip bones and it should be somewhat snug. Take your baby and hold your baby to your chest. Have your baby straddle you. You don't have to spread the legs too far. If your baby is on the young side and doesn't want to spread their legs, you use the carrier, accommodate the carrier to the baby and not vice versa. So you can take the front of the carrier, bunch it up. You can also cinch it for a very small baby. I'll show you how to do that in a second. Take it, bunch in your hands, bring it up between the baby's legs. And then put your shoulder straps on. Your chest belt should be easily accessible right at the base of your neck. You can also undo these completely and cross the straps. Personally, I don't find it that much more comfortable for me, so I'm just going to show you backpack style, but that is an option. And in that case, you would take this chest belt off. You don't really need it. So backpack style straps. Now you can adjust. You want your baby to be up on your chest, not sagging down away from you. So these are the dual adjusting straps of the piccolo. You can pull them back, you can pull them forward. One is usually much easier than the other depending on what kind of carry you're doing. So you want to tighten up until your baby is snug on your chest. A good rule of thumb is you do not want the baby's bottom to be lower than your navel. So make sure that the baby is snug up on your chest and not sagging down away from you. Front carry is pretty basic with this carrier. If you have a newborn baby, there is a cinching mechanism here. You can use that to narrow the carrier. So if your baby is newborn and having trouble getting their legs out of the carrier, you can use the cinching mechanism to make the carrier narrower and so that a small baby can get their legs out. Make sure that the legs are on the outside of the waistband. You can also use this carrier to do a front-facing carry. For a front-facing carry, I've already cinched the front of my carrier and made it narrow. So now you would put your baby on your chest, facing front. Again, bunch the carrier up between the baby's legs in your hands to make it nice and narrow. You don't want to have your baby sitting down on the carrier. You want to have your baby put it higher so that your baby can settle down. Okay, bring the carrier up. Where the carrier goes depends on how old your baby is and how tall your baby is. I do get a lot of people asking me about front-facing carry with the piccolo, and I get a lot of people wanting to do front-facing carry with big babies. Really, tops 16 pounds. You should be done with front-facing carry. It's going to start hurting your back. The reason that front-facing carry is not suitable for bigger babies is that you have the baby's heavy arms, legs, and head dangling away from your body and changing your center of gravity. So this will make you have to lean backward to compensate and put a lot of pressure on your lower vertebrae of your back. You don't want to do that. So once your baby gets to be at about 16 pounds and if your baby likes to look out and see the world and see what you're seeing, then you start working on your back carry. If you really have trouble with back carry and you find the piccolo is probably too difficult for you, the Becco butterfly does make it much easier, but really anyone can learn to do a back carry in a piccolo. You just have to do a little practice. So let me show you that. going to uncinch my carrier in the front. And spin it around to the back. So for a back carry, you start out. You want to reach behind you, grab both sides of the carrier and make sure that it's centered. It's going to make your back carry really hard if you have a carrier like that to start out with. So reach behind you, make sure that it's centered. Again, I'm right-handed, so I'm going to have my baby on my right side, on my right hip. If you're left-handed, you'll want to have your baby on your left hip using your left arm to guide the carry. Okay, so I'm going to start out holding my baby with my left hand. My right arm is free. I'm going to bring my right arm under the baby's arm and grab my baby by the bottom. At this point, I'm going to put the baby up on my back and reach around and grab the baby to hold it with my other arm. Okay, this is where it gets tricky, and this is where a lot of people freak out. So, if you think that this would really freak you out, consider the Becco butterfly instead. Okay, so when your baby is small enough to not be reliable to hold on to you, keep this hand on your baby. Reach down. The padded part right here should be dangling down, easily accessible. Don't try to grab the webbing. You want to grab this part of your padding. You want to bring it behind you and up. Reach around, move the carrier around, and find your other side. Yes, you will need to practice that. Here's your chest strap. Attach your chest strap. If you need to move down to where your collarbones are, move it down to just below your collarbones. Okay, if you need to tighten up, you can tighten up. If you need to loosen, lift the ends of the buckles. Okay, to come out, take your chest strap, undo it, bend over, make a nice table surface. You're going to reach around with your right arm, grab the baby, bring down the left strap, pull around to the front. And that's that. You can take your baby up. And take your waistband off. So that is the